Eh? Kamu kan ya sih. Abi. Ibu di mana?
Oh my gosh. Hello. Hello. Good evening.
Hello, Hafiz. Good evening.
Oh, happy night here. How is it going?
Fine,
How
thank
is
you.
it? So, how is our class going so far? Hope you guys are getting it.
Yeah, it's been interesting. Just that I've not had time to practice that just thing.
Okay. Okay. You can actually combine yesterday class and today come together to build something cool. I was expecting you guys to drop something on the group. I thought probably you'll be able to do something with what we've learned so far. So, but nevertheless, let's just try to continue with what you are doing. You can actually fall back to the recorded video and do something. Yeah. Uh,
Right.
Without wasting much of our time, we have a long way to go today, and I would like each and every one of us to concentrate with what we are going to be doing. So we don't have much talk, but we need to explain, or let me say, we need to recap what we've done so far from introduction to HTML and to CSS. So we've learned about the architecture of web page, or let me say a web application. What is the architecture behind each and every any kind of web page you see online there? So what the architecture behind them? And also we've seen how to create a web page with what we know as uh, HTML, which we call a backbone of each web page you see online, whether on mobile or on mobile application, so or on your computer. So we discussed about HTML, we talk about it, we try to showcase what you can achieve with HTML. I'm sharing my screen right away. Um, okay, let me share this one. Let me take this off. Let me take it aside. Let me bring this one here. Then, sorry, I'm trying to structure my view. So, yeah. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to. Okay, yeah. So yesterday we were able to see how to lay out your web page, but it doesn't look like what you see on a normal day. Like, what's this? It looks scattered, and how can you make it like to look great than what, like, even what you normally see online, the website, the web application, everything you see online there. How can you make what you are learning? How can you create something better, something great than what you are learning currently and than what you normally see online every day? So yeah, we talk about web application as a dynamic website, combined with server-side programming, which provide functionality such as, you interacting with your system as a user. So connecting to backend which is your database, don't forget, and generating results to the browser. So you sending requests to the server side of the website, and the server side, the backend is giving you the response. So that's just what you call web application. And you know, we've seen a lot of sample. We talk about HTML, CSS. Now we want to use our today class to create something. I will explain what is CSS into this class, and also use CSS combined with HTML to create something. Let's just brainstorm together and come up with a structure, and then we build something with both HTML and CSS. So, what is CSS? Like I said yesterday, CSS is just a cascade style sheet that we use to beautify whatever we are doing with HTML. You know, we have HTML elements. Those tags, the open and closing of angle brackets, we call it open tag, while the one with forward slash, we call it a close tag. Now, you've seen this sample yesterday. It's just like I call it from nowhere, and you've not understood what CSS does very well. But in today's class, we want to explain what is CSS. What is CSS and how can you make use of the CSS to at least make a beautiful and stunning web page by yourself. Yeah, style sheet, we call it, CSS is for styling web page. We created a web page yesterday. We style it with inline. What we did yesterday was inline CSS. You know, all this style, we put it within the HTML tag, within the body, within the paragraph, within H1 and so on like that. We put CSS inline together with them because we have different way of implementing CSS. Yeah. So this one now, let's talk about CSS. We said it's cascading style sheet. Cascading style sheet. That's CSS. Let me see. Let me create new of this so that I can easily explain what I'm trying to do. What's happening here? My internet is slow now. Why? Okay. If this is not working, I think I can use PowerPoint. PowerPoint. So we use, okay, let me just create new blank presentation. Let me change the layout to blank. Let me just fill this a little bit. Yeah. So let me just make use of this. So what is, we said we use CSS. Let me recap. We are trying to explain what CSS is all about. HTML can look so easy. It's kind of easy to understand, but you know, it's not just for you to create a structure without make it beautiful. It's just like you lay a foundation, you just mount your block, and you know, without painting it, without plastering your house, that just when you have, that's just like when you have ordinary HTML to build your web page. So but when you are dealing with CSS, it's used to control the appearance of HTML elements. So why HTML defines the structure, but CSS allow you to design and customize the visual presentation. such as font, color, layout, and so on like that. I don't know, maybe you get it. What do we use CSS to do? To control the appearance of our HTML elements. You know, we said HTML is to define the structure, while CSS allows you to design and customize the visual representation and presentation of your web page. You know, just like you are trying to get a font, color, layout, and so many. CSS is used to style and lay out web page. You can control something like color, font size, spacing, alignment, and even animation. Sometimes you see some websites with animation. Yeah, so it separates content HTML from presentation, which is CSS, making your HTML code cleaner and easier to manage. That's kind of advantage. So now, how do we style our CSS? How do we style our HTML with CSS? Now, for instance, now, I'll just try to create a new page here. Let's call it home. Don't forget how to create a new file. Let's call it home.html. And don't forget the basic structure. Call it HTML5. I have this. And let me call it HB Enterprise. HB portfolio. Let me call it portfolio. Let's assume that you want to create a portfolio for yourself. So you have this. You've given a title to your web page. Now, I just say, let me impute this h1 tag and say welcome. Or let me write my name in full and say, okay, my name is Alima Bukola. Just imagine that. And this, let's see how this looks. You know, basically, let's check the look on our on our browser. I can say run with what? Live server. Don't forget that. Where is it? So can you see what we have? Let me put this thing aside so that we can be seeing what we are doing. Can you see? This is what we have right now. Now, but I want to style this with, no, I don't want this thing to look like this. Using what we call inline CSS. Inline CSS style applied directly within HTML elements. Using what? A style attribute, like what we used yesterday. Don't forget, yesterday when I wanted to style all my elements, I was using inline CSS. That's what we call inline CSS. So yeah, how do I do that? Just type style is an attribute of HTML and then give it color. Color of what? Let's say you have color of what? Blue. Color blue. Can you see? This is what we call inline CSS. Case number one. How do you implement this CSS? You can implement it by doing what? By using inline format. That means you are applying this style within the HTML elements. Let's try another one. Another way to, oh, don't forget, don't let me forget, you can give a comment in your, what is it called? In HTML. That one will not appear on your web page. I think this is a way to give comments. You have something like this. You can simply write inline CSS. So now let's jump down and say, let's jump down to the next line. I have.
Sorry, Afiz, I have a question.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, what's the significance of giving comments in between the text code?
Yeah. You know, when you want to give a comment, for instance, now you are writing your code and you want to write a code that processes something from front end to the back end. Probably that code is to just perform an action. Maybe you want to submit a form now. Okay, this code is my form, registration form code. For instance, now I want to create a form now. I can call it from this place to this place. I can comment it and say, okay, beginning of my contact form and the end of my contact form at the end. Just to, so that if at any time you want to edit anything, you can simply search on your text editor. Like for instance, like this now, I can search for inline CSS here, and it will automatically take me to where I have inline CSS. So it gives, like, it makes your code cleaner and is easier for documentation. I don't know if you get what.
Yes,
I don't know. Yeah, okay, yeah.
I
So,
get it.
okay, let's go again. We have another H1. We call it my portfolio. My portfolio. Yeah. Now, this one now, I don't want to use inline CSS. Another way, I don't want to use inline CSS. Right now, I want to use what we call internal CSS. Internal CSS is another way to implement CSS. The way you do that is by putting the style, a style block within the header tag. No, after when you're trying to create your HTML from here to here is what we call header part, like the head part of your HTML code. This, whatever you have within this head will not display on the body of your website. But anything you put here, you know, we want to add a plugin or anything, you put it within the head, but it will function. It will affect the display, the appearance, everything, or the functionality in the interaction of your web page. Let's try again. Let's go like this. Let's see how to implement internal CSS. So you have something like this. We call it style. Style. Can you see? You have a style. Now, within this style now, I can simply say, okay, don't let me use H1 here. Let me use H2 to differentiate it. H2. Now I can come to this place and call the element H2 like this and put the value. I want to get the value now. You know, I want to give it a value like, okay, anytime you see H2 in this web page, try to give it a color of what? Color red. So anywhere you see H2, give it what? Color red. Are we good? No, something is wrong. I don't know. We cannot see our it's not displaying anything, meaning there's an error somewhere, but it's not showing here. Let's say type. I think we need to put type here. type of style sheet. Style. Let's delete it and see, do we have any error like this? Okay, it come up. Let's paste our code again. Oh, perfect. So we have it. So can you see that the H2 now, if I try to create another H2 within my web page now, I create another H2 and call it view my resume. Can you see everything turns what? To red, meaning that anywhere I'm using H2 within this my web page, everything will turn to the color I give to it from this my internal CSS.
Sorry, I have a question.
Okay.
The H2 tag in the internal CSS in the head of the web page is not closed.
Okay.
I mean, it's not supposed to be closed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not closed. It's not like open and close like you have in
because we are just trying to style it. You are calling this H2 elements. You don't need to style it or giving it a like open and close tag of a thing. So you only need this. If I want to style H1, I'll only call this H1. If I want to style my body, this body itself, I'll just use the name alone, not with the tag, while calling element in a style sheet.
Okay.
Yeah, that's internal. So let's go again. Another way to implement CSS, and is the recommended one. You have external style sheet. Let me delete this. You need what we call external style sheet. External style sheet. So when you are using external CSS, just to make sure that you need a clean code. You don't want everything to mess up like what I did here yesterday. Probably the way I was doing this yesterday, it looked tiring to some of us, like this thing is getting too much. It doesn't look good. It's not making sense. So just to make sure that your code looks better and you want to have a clean code while building your application, you can have external CSS. How do we do that? You go to your directory or your folder, you create a new file. Just make sure that whatever you are calling it, you are giving it .css extension. So you can say you have style .css. Now you have two separate files now. You have two separate files. This home.html is our main HTML document. This style is what we are using to style this home.html. So what do we need to do? How do we connect both together? I can connect both together by calling that CSS file into my HTML document. How do I call it? I can use HTML tag called link. I want to link CSS with my HTML document. link what? Real relative of what? Style sheet. Style sheet. Then reference to what? To the style.css. And then you close this. You don't need to use forward slash to close this. All this one, they are not what is it called? They are independent. You don't need to close this kind of tag. Yeah, you have this like this. Now, how do I know that this one is linked to what? Is linked to our home.html and this style.css. Now, let's just give it a sample. We can simply call a body tag within our HTML and give it a property of what? Background color. Can you see? Let's give it something. Let's give it black background color and see. Can you see? Immediately showing that whatever I put here, whatever style I'm styling here, it will affect the home.html. I don't know if you are grabbing it. We've done something now. We've learned how to implement inline CSS. And we've learned how to implement internal CSS, meaning that you're having it within your document. And the last one is that we've learned how to implement external CSS. Now, which one is the best? But don't let us go there first. Basic syntax of HTML, CSS. We have basic syntax. You call whatever you want to use, like within the CSS. Now you see, I call this body, which is what I'm using. We call it selector. I select a particular tag, and I gave it what? Property. This is an attribute of CSS. Why this is the value? So I declare a value for this. I can simply change it. It will change. Can change it to whatever you like. Can you see? So this is how to assign, select an element. When you select an element, and then you declare a style for it. So what we have in CSS rule is what? Selector and declaration. You select element and you declare value for it within your brace, curly brace bracket. So another example, let's do something. You know, we have H1. We can call H1 and give it another property. Let's say font size, and let's give it 24 pixel. It has changed. Can you see? We have it here. It has changed. So if I go to my main CSS now, or let me say main HTML document, and I just use, instead of having something like this, you can simply duplicate it. Let's duplicate it. Let's just have it here. And then, oh, sorry, Control Z. I want to copy. I don't want to clean it. That is why so we have something like this. I can comment out this first one. So I can comment out that one so that I don't need it again. So And instead of having a style here, I can clean all this. I can clean this. And let me have this clean code. And then even the internal CSS, I can remove it. I can remove the internal CSS. Or I can comment it out by pressing Ctrl/. If you want to comment something on your Visual Studio Code, just highlight whatever you want to comment out, and then press Ctrl and /. It will comment it out. So we have this external CSS alone. External CSS. Now I can come to this place and say, okay, the H1, anywhere I'm seeing H1 on my website, give it color this, and then don't change the, I can say this to be 55. Can you see? I can say anywhere I'm seeing H2. Can you see? This is how we build any kind of robust system. So anywhere I'm seeing H2, give it 25 pixels of size and make the color something different. You can say, give me color blue or anything. So that's for H2. And my background, I don't need any background than what? Let me have a white background. You can use color code or you can use name. This is CSS. It will make your work like much faster. And there's some attribute or property, like for instance, I can say all star. If you use star, or am I correct? I think it's star means all. Yeah, you can say whatever I'm selecting here, anything I'm picking on my web page, anything I'm creating, any element, give it what? Margin of what? 0. And give it padding of 0. I don't want any extra space, because sometimes when you create H1 tag, it automatically it will give your tag automatic margin and padding. So anywhere, whatever element I'm creating within my HTML document, don't give it any kind of padding or margin. Now, let's talk about different kind of like common CSS property. As you can see, I'm using background. I've tried something like text styling, because you can even change font size or font or family. Font family is like you saying you have area or anything kind of different type of style of what's it called, of font size. So you can have something like this and just put it there. It can give you a combination of different kind of this thing, but you can decide, okay, I don't even need all this combination. It's too much for me. Just give me Lucida Sun alone. So I only need this one. Don't give me much, what is it called? I'm okay with Lucida Sun. Oh, since I'm using, it has a space, you need to put it within a quote. Can you see? That's a font name. But if you want to use this font all through your website, this particular font, you cut it out here and you give it to all here. Can you see? It's very easy. So let's save this. What else do we need to talk about? Okay, giving an example, we talk about a margin. If I'm trying to give a margin now, I can say, okay, on my website, the bodies will have margin of at least, I don't want all my text to start from the wall of my web page. No, don't start, at least give a space, leave a margin. You know, when we did primary school now. So they ask you to leave a margin. So have margin and say, okay, at least give it margin of what? Margin, if you are using ordinary margin, it will give it both up, down, left, and right. That margin will affect it. So you can simply say, at least give it 10 pixel of margin. Can you see? At the top, a little bit of margin, 10 pixel. From the left, a little bit of margin. Even when you get to the end of the page, it will still leave that 10 pixel, that 10 pixel. And the same thing when you get to the bottom of your web page, it will give it 10 pixel. So that's another way. Yeah. So the next thing, like, okay, let's talk about boss model. For instance, now you have a div. Let's go back to our HTML home. Let's create a simple div tag. Mostly we use div for layout in HTML. So this div, you can say, okay, anytime I'm having div tag, I can say, let's say blog, let's call it blog. Can you see? You can say, okay, anytime I'm having this div on my web page, help me to do what? To style div a little bit, give it some property and say, okay, give it border of what? Border means, you know, line border. Or what do I call it? So you give it border of 1 pixel, solid, meaning make it a solid line, like what we did yesterday. And then I need it to be which color? Which color? I need color what? I need color black. So can you see? I have this border around my div. So I can simply say, okay, give me padding of what? Yes, come and learn something here now. Check that padding now. I want to give it padding of 10 pixel. You see that internally, it will create a space inside, not outside. If you are using margin, it affects outside of your box. When you are using padding, it's space in between. Let's move forward. The next thing here, let's just give it a margin of at least 20%. 20%. Let's check how margin will work here now. I say, okay, 20%. Can you see? Can you see the difference? So we have it here. So let's check again. Another sample is when you try to lay out your element. Probably now, let me create another div within this home. You can say div again. Now here I will explain something different. Let's create this div. Can you see? I created another div. The same property that I assigned to this first one still affect the second one. But how do I need to separate them? We need to learn something called selector in our CSS. I can give this I can give what we call either class or ID. We have what we call class selector or ID selector. For instance, now, if I'm using ID here, let me say I give this thing ID of what? Container. I want to use it for something. I'm giving this ID of container, and I want to assign a property to this using CSS. I'll come to my CSS and say, okay, since I'm using ID, you are going to use hashtag to call that particular ID container and assign some property to it. I can say, okay, let this be a what? Display of this container displays to be what? What we call flex box. I can say this container justify my content in between of what? In between, what's it called? Let me say center. Can you see? Justify my content to the center. So, but you might not get all these things right now, but let's do something different. Let's combine all this knowledge together. But sorry, let me do one more. Another way to select your element is using what we call class. What you call class. I can decide to do this and call it class. When you use class, you call it container. This container, don't mind my, what's it called? My text editor. So I've given it, I install one extension. So anytime I'm using class, it's helped me to, or I'm using inline of a thing, it helped me to collapse everything. So yeah, if I'm using, what is it called now? Or let me create a button. Yeah, let's create a button or something. Okay, let's just call it this dot container. But when you are using class of a thing, when we are using ID, we pick what? We choose hashtag hash container. That's for ID. If you are using class to select your element, you use what? Dot container. So when you do something like this, container, I can say justify content to what? Space in between. And then we have, you can also say justify content to the end of the line. So do we have it? Sorry. Something like this. Or let me say, we align item to the end. Yeah, just any kind of property. I can give it color to make it different. Let me say I have this color. So, and we are good. So that's how to do this. So I'll just give you best recommendation, like, okay, best practice is what? Don't repeat yourself while using class and ID. So to reuse your style across multiple elements. So if, for instance, now I'm creating multiple div within my web page, I need to, at least if I assign this particular div alone to a lot, like if I have 10,000 of divs within my web page, this CSS will affect everything across. The same thing, use external CSS to at least separate your CSS into different files to keep your HTML clean and organized. So that's another recommendation as best practice. So use comment very well. So that you know what you are doing. So if you are using comment in CSS, you do something like this. This is how to start comment in CSS. So you say container. So this is how to style to comment in CSS. So, and your comment is not count, it will not display. Then responsive design, use media query to adapt the layout from different screen size. This is where there's problem. I'm doing my stuff on my laptop now, on my computer screen. Imagine I want to view my what is it called? I want to view my web page on what? On mobile phone. How do I want it to look? I want to view it on tablet. How do I want it to look? Let's take, for instance, now, I have a full screen of my web page. If I press F12, you can press F12 on your system. It will show you the developer mode like this. So you can actually change to this. Okay, I want to see it. How is it going to look on iPad? Can you see? How is it going to look on Samsung? How is it going to look on maybe Fold? Can you see? How is it going to look on iPad? So anything, Surface, can you see? So it will give you it, and it will let you know whether your design is responsive or not. So we call it responsive design. So I can give you, maybe I will package all these notes and maybe I share to you guys on the group so that you can at least do something with it, learn along the line. You read it when you are getting it wrong. So yeah, let's do something. Let's do something. I don't know if you have any questions so far. So we've spent almost an hour. Please, if you have any question before we dive into today's practical. So we've done theory so far. So let's do something different. Let's do practical and build at least one web page before we go on today. So with combination of our CSS and HTML, let's build one beautiful interface, please. Oh, I'm seeing new member here. I can see Tigger. Welcome. How you doing? You can unmute yourself and greet us. I can see Alima. Alima, is it the one I know? So, yeah. So if you guys have any question, kindly let us hear you have. But today, before you go home today, I want to at least you are going home with a beautiful web page, and I want you to replicate it by yourself. If you have any question, I always will continue. I hope I'm recording this section. If not, there's a problem.
I hope you are recording.
If I'm not recording this one, there's a problem. So, okay, without any question, let's continue and let's build something. Okay, we've been using HB portfolio. Yeah. So I don't know why I choose that name. So, but let's say this is just a sample. Let's leave this one. I want us to build something. Let's build something. Imagine we want to create a stunning web page that at least give us great look. But all of us, we are going to work together here in the next 1 hour. I want us to work together. So, okay, in the next 45 minutes, let me short it like that. We want to create a web page using HTML and CSS. Because tomorrow is our day 4 and we are going to start JavaScript tomorrow. I want you to go home with this exercise. Go after this class, go and rewatch this class, practice and build what will be the final product of today's class. Try to build it yourself and see whether you're not going to tell the developer in your area like, myself, I can create a website too. You can give me a task. So we are able to do it and we are going to make it mobile responsive. Whatever we are building now. Okay. Let me create a new folder. I don't want us to use this. Okay, it's good. We can continue with this or let me go into my directory. and do something different. Okay. Let me call it new file and call it home page. Okay, my web page. My page.html. So, but I will structure something here now. I'll create a new folder and call it CSS. I can move this CSS to this folder, move. And also, I can create new CSS within this folder and call it my page.css. My page.css. My page.css. Now, so we have a separate folder for our CSS now. We can link this my page.html. Let me rename this to HTML. But you can use HTML at the same time. So to accept it. So now let's start something. Guys, please follow me. Let's say we have HTML and call it, I don't know, Alima, I must use your name today. I don't want you to run away. So my portfolio. So, and okay, we have this one, media with content, because all these things are matter. Okay, apart some of the metadata, you know, I made mention of metadata the other day. Like you can put metadata for search engine to recognize your website. So I can decide to say, okay, metadata and put name and can call it author of this web page. And the content of my this thing, like I can call it, oh, my name is Afis Babatunde. Anytime search engine is searching for any web page that I authored, it will bring out this web page. I can also give it another description, another metadata, meta of what? Name. I can call it some keywords, you know, keywords. And then the content of these keywords will be what? Because we are learning HTML and CSS, we can put HTML, CSS, and what? Web development. We are learning it for web development. So can you see this how you put some content, like, you know, recognition to your website. Even you can also put description of this website here. You can say, okay, name, the description of my website, description of my website, and you put a content and say, okay, I can say CodeOrbit training web development training. And you have it, conclude your this thing. So this how it works. So we've put description to our web page. Now, don't forget, we want to link it to the my page CSS. So because we'll be using external CSS in this. So we have link Don't forget how we relate the CSS to our web page. So we call it style sheet, and then we do what? A reference to it is don't forget we put it inside CSS folder. So we call it CSS and then my page.css. So we close it. So everything linked together. Thank God we are good. Do you know why this thing changed? Don't forget, because we put that folder like CSS file into another folder. So it's not seeing it again. It's not seeing it again because this CSS, if we rename it and we move it to another folder. So let me close all this so that we have only my page and my page CSS. Now, if I try to come to home here and change this thing to what CSS, don't forget, I put it like this, everything back to normal. So sometimes when you move files, it affects your web page. Just know that. So let me close it. So we are good. Let's move ahead with what we are planning to do for today. Yeah. I will be using some, I'll be very fast. Let's just catch along. Try to follow me. Let's say I'll need my header section. I want to build a web page now. Oh, this is not what we are not using this one again. Let me close this. Let me close this. Let me run this one with live server. Let's run that one. Okay. Let me take it back here and put it aside so that we can be seeing what we are doing. So I want to give you a comment and call this header section of what? Of my website. So perfect. So what do I need? Don't forget, we are using a semantic, what is it called? Way, which is HTML5. Let's go ahead. Do you have any comments on the chat box? Okay, no. So header of my website. So I can give it some h1 within my header. Let me have simple h1 tag and say this h1 is what? Let's say Alima Kola. And then let me wrap everything inside a div. Let me wrap this inside the div. I'm trying to lay out my web page now. So even though you are not getting it, just keep watching. Keep watching me. I could remember that statement when my boss was telling me in the year 2012 when I was learning web development. If you are not getting it, just keep watching. So yeah, let's call this a container. Let's give it a class and call it container. See, this thing, you don't need to cram it. You just know what to do at the right time. So, and this H1, we can call it main title of my website. ID of what? Main title. You can put even in between your naming of your CSS selector, but don't put space, please. You cannot put space in between. You can use underscore, you can use even in between. So now, what do we have? We have this. Now, let me go to my CSS. Let me go to my CSS. I can say, for everything I want to use within my website today, I can say box sizing to border box. I can say margins to be 0. I can say padding to be 0. So don't keep any space. I don't need any white space. So I can give it a body. The body, that's the main, what you are seeing on your screen. Everything like the whole screen. So I want to use a font family called area, font family called area sans serif. Let me use area sans serif alone and see what we have. So let me use this. So you can use that. This area sans serif. You can say, okay, line height. So line height. These are some property you need to know within your CSS. So I can say, okay, 1.6 is enough for my line height. So I can say color. I need color. Color should be what? Let me use is it not red? 333 is like the red or something. Okay, let me use web color, which is like gray color or brown. Yeah. Can say, oh, my background color for the whole thing, let it be what color can I use? You can suggest, you can unmute your mic. Let's build it together. Talk, whatever you have, as you are guiding me, I'll be following. So do F5,
Okay.
F5.
Can
Let's
we
do
use
something
that
like this.
light green on top of this live server?
Live server?
The light green color.
Yeah, sure. Okay. This light green, right?
Yes, that one.
Okay, and we just look for it. Is it for a color or for our, okay, I will use it for another
For the
container.
background.
So we use it for our header. Let's just have
Okay.
a cool background so that it won't be color riot.
Okay.
Let's do. I will go with that with our header. So let's do padding top. Padding at the top to be 20 pixel. 20 pixel. So just to keep space at the top of my web page. Yeah, perfect. We are done with that. Let me give the comments so that we all understand. I'll push this code, the one we are doing today, I'll push it to my GitHub so that you all know how to use GitHub. You go and download the code on my GitHub page. So general styling. So this general styling is affecting everything on our web page. This will affect everything on our web page. So and then we have done the body. Okay, let's go for the container now. Container. We have a selector that we call container. Container.
Okay. Sorry, the padding has been affected.
Yes, yeah, we know padding at the top. So we have 20 pixels. If you remove it, there won't be space at the top like that. So for layout, so let's have something like this. So our container here, I want it to have, don't forget I use what? Class for container. So since I'm using class, I will use dot. Can do container. So let's have within our container, we'll have width of what? Let's just have it 85% of our web page. Then let's have margin of auto, yeah, 0 and auto. Then we have padding of 20%. We have padding of 20 pixel. So we have padding of 20 pixel. Now, don't forget, we've created our header. So let's give it something different. So let's have this comment of a thing. Don't forget that just for you to understand the next thing I'm doing, header styling. Header styling like this, and we have header, just call the header tag direct, since it's only one that we have on our page. We have background color. Background color. Okay, let's use the color you made mention earlier. I think this is it. Or we can select here something related to that color. Can you see? And just select something like it. It will give you RGB color. Can you see what we have? Are we good? So then what would be the text of our this thing, of our header? I'll give it white color, which is FFF. So then we have what else? Padding of 20 pixel and 0. We have something like this. Then what else? What else can I give this header? Okay, text align. Let the text align be at the center. So we are good for the header. Okay, what else? We have within the header, don't forget that we have H1. You can style in this way too. No, within this header, we have what we call H1. So now you can simply recognize this H1 within our header by calling the tag accordingly. So when you say header and H1, is referring to the H1 within this header. If you have any other H1 outside this header, it will, what we are trying to, the attribute we are trying to assign now will not affect it. So we have this. So we can say margin top to be 10 pixel, 10 pixel for that H1. So we are good. The next thing here, we are good with this one. Let's create a navigation bar. Let's go back to our HTML. Let's go back to our HTML. So I want to create a nav bar. What is a nav bar? Your navigation, those links, home, about, services, and contact us. Let's just use that for. So I can simply do what? After my H1, let's have a nav. Don't forget semantic way, and this nav you can call you can use what you call UL on other lists. That's what you call UL on other list. You want to list something out. So on other list, you have LI list, your list, and you can have your link in between A, which is what? Anchor tag. You reference it, anchor tag, go with href, and then what else? You are closing it and you call it home. This is our home page link. So you can reference it to home in this manner. You can reference it in this way, so that when you click on it, it go back to the home page. So let's have it this way, and then let's duplicate this. You can use Shift key and Alt to duplicate it to 4. So we have this. You can say this is about, and then we have services. We have services. So just do this. You want to use capital letter, and then we have contact here, contact. Then we can manipulate this. Say contact. So I've been able to create my link. Say home, about, services, and then contact us. Okay, we need to do what? Style this. Let's give it a style. So it's very simple. You might be thinking like, oh, this is not looking good. Let's go down a little bit. I have this header within nav, and then within our UL. So this UL, we want it to be list style type to be none. Can you see all those dots? Remove. That's case number 1. Case number 2, you can say header nav UL li, meaning that I'm referring to all those lists in between. So I can say, okay, give it what? Display inline. Can you see? Margin right. Let's do margin right for this to be something 15 pixels is enough. Like this. So we go down, we say another one, header nav UL li link, and have this. So we can have color. Just change the color. Color to be what? White. Let's give it color white. And we can cancel, you know, why are we having that underline on each link? You can say test decoration to be none. Can you see? So another thing you see on a website is like when you place your cursor on what? Let me duplicate this and then have something like this. Yeah. So when you visit a website now, when you place your cursor on each link like this, when you place your cursor, you see something different. So you can say A over like this. Anytime you place your cursor over, you don't need the color to change, but you want this text decoration to turn to underline. Text decoration to be underlined like this. So when you place your cursor here, can you see? Can you see? It will underline it for you so that you show that, okay, this is a link. So perfect. We are done with that. Let's move forward. Let's come back to my page. After header, we need to create the body. We need to create the body, the section. So we can call it let's call it room. So we have this. Let's have a div or a section. Yeah, since we are using our this thing. So this section, we can call it, make it clean. We can call it ID of home. Then we say H2. Let's use H2 for this. Let's use H2 and call this H2 Salute. Am I correct? This English. Welcome. Let me say, okay. Introduction. Let's use introduction. Introduction. So, and then let's have a simple paragraph. P. This is my official page to demonstrate. Give me English now. To demonstrate
my portfolio.
Okay, my portfolio. Perfect.
Portfolio. LIO.
Okay. Yeah, perfect. So I have this. I have a simple image. I say, okay, IMG, SRC. Yeah, I don't think we have image. Do we have image here? Let me check. Images. Okay, let's use any of these image. Let's call stripe. From my image folder, I have stripe hero. So, and then we have hot message. I can call it my headshot. Yeah, perfect. And then we can close this image tag. Yep. Then we close. What else? Oh, I thought I put this in a container. Fuck up. So I can wrap it with a container. Div. Okay. Let me wrap this in a container. So we are good. So let me make it more cleaner and put something like this. Yeah, perfect. So we are getting there. But I would not like to use this background. It's not, it's the blue that we are using. No, it's not okay.
It's not
so
fine.
what we use, yeah, but let's just continue. I will find another image later. So just for us to, so, I think I have another one. Let me use that diagonal fitting. Diagonal. Okay, I think this better. Yeah, good evening. So yeah, this is it. But the next thing I want us to do, let me put another section. I think I have some sample file now so that this will not take much of our time. We have home section, we have about. Let's have this. Something like this. Let's have this. Let me call it, what's that name? What's that name? Alima. So, yeah. So this about me. So I have it down here. Now, I forgot to give this one ID. Is it ID or class? Class or container? Container. Perfect. Is it making sense? I don't know if you are getting it.
Yes.
Can you see what you have now? Can you see? So now, but can you see that this picture is not full screen? That's another issue. When we get there, we'll see. So let me turn it back to what we have here. Yeah. So let's go and style this our home section and this about section. So let's quickly go there. I have under this my home. I have a section. Let's call it padding. 40 pixels. We have 40 pixels for section. Let's see the difference. Then we have dot section dark. I don't know if you see that container here. We have container here. Do you have any section dark? Okay. Oh, I think I put something like that in there. Sorry. Yeah, I have it on my about. Where is it? Okay, this is it section that I know I saw it. So I just want to add something to it. Yep. Then we have background color. Let's give it the same color that we have at the top. And then what else? Color. Our color should be white. I go write white. Nothing bad. So can you see what I'm having here? So this is another thing. So I think we are good for that. So our H2, don't forget, we have H2. That H2 is what we have here in that introduction. So I can say H2 here. I can give it color. And say, let me use this color for and then yeah, I think that color is fine. So then I have text aligned to the center. And then magic button to be 20 pixels. Then what else? I think I have paragraph too. Let's assign some property for our paragraph and say font size. Let's give it font size to increase a little bit. Let's give it 1.1. Yeah. And then text align to the center. So yeah. So the next thing here on our list is image. Don't forget we have image. Image tag here. You call it. You can give it display. Display block. And then maximum width to be 100%. So that you can fool the whole screen when you are using your laptop or anything. Can you see now? Everything has changed when I give it maximum because I made it the size of the container that hold that particular section. So height to be auto. I need margin to be 20 pixels and auto. So then we have border radius. So border radius make it more kind of a corner at the edges. Border radius should be 10 pixels. So can you see that image now? Can you see the edges? It make it like, you know,
Yes.
card edge. So we have it that way. So that means at least, let's check it. Can you see this? How does it look to you?
It looks nice.
Are we getting there? Is it looking like a web page?
Yes.
Perfect. So let's go. Let's go. Oh shit. Yeah. So at this point, let's use, we're almost done. Only let's add surfaces and, you know, I think I have some sample web page here. Let me just put it there. I will drop the code on my GitHub. You can just copy it and then you replicate whatever I'm doing. So let me go to the services section. So let me place my sample code here. Let me have it this way. Are we good? Services. So, but please, I will want you to understand something here. So I created a section called services, a div within. Don't forget we have a container. We have our H2 here. Then just to give us the services, you know, and don't forget we've created H2 before, which we align everything to the center. We have another class here called services. We are going to style that one. We have web development. We have H3. We have our paragraph. We have another div called services here. Can you see we have 3 services just to separate these services? So can you see services? So if I give any attribute to a single services, it will affect everything. So let's go to our CSS and see how we can style that one too. So I'm going to my CSS now and say, okay, let's do service section styling. Let me have it this way. So I can say the service item. I don't know. Item. We have display flash. So this is where you learn how display flash work.
Hello?
Can you see?
Hello?
Yeah.
How far? I can hear you now.
So we have display flash. You know, we have 3 boxes, you know, 3 div. Let me show you. Can you see this div? It wrap all these div, services. We have 3 boxes inside. Now, when we say this display service item, you go to my page and say we say display flash. It turn it to 3, you know, just to be beside each other. We don't want it to be on a column, but when we are on mobile phone, you can let it be on a column, on a row. But when we are dealing with big screen, we want it to be in a column format. So it can auto adjust itself when you are using Flash box. So let's go. We say the next thing, I say justify my content to be spaced around. Then I say Flash wrap to be what? Wrap it for me. Now, the next thing here, we have dot services. We are calling services box now. So call this one. Let's give it background. Let's assign background color of, I think white is okay. Let me give it white. Then let's have padding of 24 pixel is enough. So let's have, or let me do 20 pixel. I think 20 pixel is enough. 20 pixel. Oh, what is this? 20 pixel. And then we have margin of 10 pixel. Pixel. Pixel is measurement. Don't forget, it's just like a measurement. So 10 pixel. And we have border radius of what? How many? Let's do 8 pixel. Let's do width of each box. We want it to be 30% of our page. Okay. And then we have box shadow. Let's give it a shadow. So the shadow to be, this is where you can use RGB format.
Please,
so you can say,
it's time to go to mosque.
okay, oh, my own time here. Yeah, it will soon be done. So 4 pixel, 8 pixel, and then we can do RGBA of what? 0, 0, 0, and then we can have opacity of 0.1. Yeah, I think we are good. Then we can have first align to the center. So let's check what we've done so far for these services. Oh, we have H3. Sorry. Within our services, we have dot services H3, which is the header. So you can say display flex. Can you see we have all those header display in a wrong format? So you can make it display flex, and then flex direction to the column. We have align item to the center. So can you see now? We have this. So let's see it in a big format. Can you see what we have? So can you see? It looks good. So the same way we have this header here, we can change the color of our H3. So by simply do what? Let's come here and do where is it? can do color to be this, and we have margin button of 10 pixels. What do we have here? Okay, I think we are good. We are good. So this is how we can build something great. We've done services about, and then our the main introduction, then the next thing about me, our services. Yeah, so that just let me give us a contact section, and then go to my page. My page. After this section, we have our contact section. So you can just simply have it this way. So just to create a form, you know, we use HTML to create form too. So you need to learn how to create form. So this is a form now. Can you see? Email, name, email, and the message you want to send. So that's how to create this. And then the last part of this thing is the footer. So this is the footer. And we have it that way. So we have the footer. So I can say, where is it? github.com/do. That's my GitHub. And there is my so that's my Twitter. So, and it is what we call x.com. So yeah, we have all this now. Let's try to make it better using CSS. So after this, we are done for today. So let's go back to our CSS. So the next thing we are working on is what? The form. No, we created the form now. Let's see. Let's quickly find this form. We have this. So let's say call the form name and then display flash. We have the flash direction to be what? In a column. And then we have align item to the center. So after this, don't forget we have form label. What is form label? Within our form, we have labels. So don't forget, that's the name that we have, like all this name is a label, email is a label, message is a label. So, but this one is what we call test input, this one is test input, and this one is test area, while this one is a button. So let's start the form label with what? Don't go up now, stay there. So we have this form label. Let's give it margin. Margin of what? 10 pixel, 0p, and 5 pixel. So, you know, when you are talking about margin affects the 4 angles of our page, the 4 sides of our page, which is top, bottom, left, and right. So if I say 10 pixel at the top, 0 for the left and right, while 5 pixel for the bottom. That's the meaning of 10 pixel, 0, 5 pixel. So to affect top, left and right, and the bottom. So the next thing, I think I'm okay with this. I can say form input, which is my email and name, form input, and the test area. Don't forget, we also have test area, which is form test area. So we have something like this. And then I'll just say width to be 100%. I will say max width to be 600 pixels. So maximum width, like don't be more than 600 pixels. That's when you are on screen, on the big screen, don't be more than 600 pixels. So I don't want a situation whereby my form will be 100% of my screen. So maximum width will be 600 pixels. So we have padding of what? 10 pixels. And then let's say we have magic button of 15 pixels. Then what else can we have? We have border radius. Yeah, border radius it makes things look better. Let me say 5 pixels is enough. And then let's have it a border. Let's add border to it to be 1 pixel. Slowly. And then we have a gray around it, a gray color. CCC is a gray. So then we are good. And don't forget, let's check what we've done so far. Let's check it. Now you see the form now. It makes sense. It's making sense now. So let's check again. Form button, we have button that send message. So we have form. Button. And let's give it some property. I say width. What is happening now? Width represent. We do width cannot be okay. Form button, okay. Let's give it a padding so that it create space in between of that button to be 10 pixels. Yes. And 20 pixels. Let's give it a background color. Yeah, that button need a background color. Let's give it the same color with this. Yeah, I think this is okay. And then test color. Test color should be, our test color should be white. No, I think white is FFF. You can use FFF for name. Yeah. Then we have border. I don't want to add border to it. None. Then we have border radius to be 5 pixels. I think that's fine. Border radius to be 5 pixels. Yeah. Oh, let's have cursor. When you place your cursor on a button to be pointer. Yeah, let's show as a pointer. So we are good. And then when you place cursor over that form button, let's just quickly run that as well. And let's say button over. When you place it on it, we have something different. I'll just do something like this. Background colors will change when you place cursor on it. We have different background. So let me just say we have for CA instead of this. Let me use this color. Yep, we are good. And then I think we are good with the form. Yeah, the form is looking good now. So guys, we'll be able to create something, but it's not looking good on a small screen. I hope we are getting it. It's not looking good on a small screen because we are on a small screen now. Let's just assume that we are on a tablet. It's not looking good yet. So let me quickly format the footer. So we have footer. Let's type this footer and do my footer background to be, I don't even need this background. Let's leave it black. So I need my colors to be white. Yeah. And then I need something different here. Text align, let all my text align to the center. And then what else? I need padding of 20 pixel and auto 20 pixel auto. Yeah. Let me do 0 instead of auto. So where's that footer? Let me check it. Okay, this is my footer now. So I have text and I have everything here. So, and I have some link. Can you see all these links they are showing? It's not visible enough for me. So let's do something to it. I say all links that we have on my footer. Do you remember that we use anchor tag, which is A for link? So you can say all the color of my link to be this, and then test decoration to be none. I say test decoration none. I don't need any decoration on it, and I'm good. So what else? I can say anytime I place cursor on my link in the footer A, then over, what will happen? Test decorations will be underlined. And that's all. We are done with our website. We are done with our web page. Any comments? Any comments? But don't forget, can you see, when you fill this on what? On a small screen, can you see how it's looked? Especially this, our services. It's not making sense at all. It's not making sense. So to make it responsive, let's quickly run that. It's just a small code. You add a small code to your CSS. So to make it look responsive, you do what? Let me come here. Just say responsive design. We have a responsive design. So we now use this at media screen. At media screen, something like this. So the screen size can be of, let me say mass width. The maximum width of a screen size, if it is above 760, or let me say if it is, yeah, if the screen is bigger than this, if the screen is bigger than this size. So let all services item to be in this direction, like flesh, you condition it now to be in column, and then align item to the center. S dot services to be in this way, width of 100% and mass width to be what? 600 pixels. And that's all. That's how you make it responsive. Let's check it again. Can you see now? That services is well arranged now. So, but I don't like this space at the top. Can I remove it? Yes, I can remove it because on top of our body, we added padding top of this. So you can comment it out if you don't want it. Automatically, everything becomes balanced. Can you see? It will make sense. And this is it on a small screen. Can you see? Yeah, guys, please, you can unmute yourself and say something before we wrap it up for today. We only have less than 5 minutes. So maybe tomorrow we explain a little bit of it before we move forward to JavaScript. So, but with the little that you've learned so far, you should be able to create something by yourself. So guys, any comments, please, I want you to speak up. You can type. Oh, oh. Okay, Walia said we should share the code. Yeah, sure. I will put it on my GitHub now, and then everybody can have access to it. So where's my GitHub? So guys, please watch the video and then we see again tomorrow. By God grace. Thanks for joining and have a wonderful evening. Good night.